Here's a hotel meeting room with a bunch of clocks that are apparently set at random. But it still seemed appropriate because these clocks were behind this man.
I'm James Glick, and the book is Time Travel, A History.
And there is one obvious question for a person who has studied the history of this strange idea. Would he travel back in time and kill baby Hitler?
Oh, I don't even know.
Seriously, that could not be the real answer.
No, well...
Okay, let's go back. When did we start asking this? Baby Hitler has a publicity pop every few years, like this New York Times poll, or when former presidential candidate Jeb Bush gave his answer to the Huffington Post.
Hell yeah, I would.
But this dilemma has a longer history than what just went viral. It reflects how we think about time travel and history, and maybe the present, too. Time travel is oddly new. Well, it depends how you count. Some might count stories like a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, the Mark Twain story that sent a modern man to medieval times once he got hit on the head. Or there's even a Spanish novel where the protagonists traveled in a cast iron box to the 1860s, 1400s, 690s, 220s, and 79 AD before going to the distant past. But H.G. Wells's Time Machine was one of the first to truly put the words time travel together. Time travel through a machine wasn't a long-standing Greek myth or something Shakespeare invented in the 1500s.
That was the surprise. H.G. Wells's Time Machine, we think of that as being in the middle of the time travel story, but really it turns out to be the very beginning. What was in the air was a kind of confluence of things. One thing was an understanding of the speed of advancement of technology. If you were living in the 16th century and somebody appeared from the sky and said, "How do you think life is going to be for your grandchildren?" you would have said, "What? It's going to be the same." If something new came along, a new kind of plow, that seemed like an accident. It didn't seem like part of inevitable progress.
But by Wells's time, technology's pace was evident. The telegraph had taken over and reduced the world's news to a few taps and clicks. And Wells's time travel had the spirit of the era's most futuristic gadgets.
You look at the prose carefully, and it describes quartz rods, and there's a saddle, and he seems to have an oil can or something. He puts drops of oil in the gears, but it's all a little mysterious what this machine is, until suddenly it hits you, it's a bicycle.
Wells's description of the machine seemed inspired by bikes, which at the time were exciting and new. But it was the idea that really took hold. People instantly understood the complexities and contradictions of Wells's fantastic machine.
You know, Wells thought he was just creating a fanciful story, an adventure. But very quickly, a reviewer said, "No, you know, this is impossible, because what if you went back in time and met yourself? What would happen then?"
Were you, dude?
As time travel became more popular, so did all the twists that instantly enthralled an audience. And it was only a matter of time until time travel was used to kill. This is Roger Sherman Hoare, a state senator and assemblyman from Massachusetts. He was the author of 1932's Unemployment Insurance in Wisconsin, among other works. He was also Ralph Milne Farley. That's the pen name he used to write I Killed Hitler, the first story in the Killing Hitler time travel genre.
Pulp magazines aimed at especially teenage boys started to produce an outlet for people who wanted to write this kind of fanciful story.
Farley's story actually appeared before the Pearl Harbor attack. His narrator was supposed to be Hitler's cousin, who traveled back to 1899 to kill Adolf. And it opened up an enduring time travel dilemma.
It's two problems at once. There's a scientific problem. You can set your mind to work imagining, could such a thing be possible, and how would that work? And then there's an ethical problem. Well, what if if I could, would I, should I? Time travel is so often about regret. It's about something in your past that you wish you could do over. In this case, here is the entire planet allowing this monster to arise and kill millions of people. Does that justify in advance the preventive killing of this dictator?
Killing Hitler and time travel assassinations gave a philosophical problem, narrative tension. Pulpy stories like I Killed Hitler took advantage of an increasingly time travel savvy public, and assassination became a tradition, maybe even a cliche. Time travel assassination plots soon showed up in arty sci-fi movies like La Jetée and its remake, 12 Monkeys. It motivated naked Arnold and almost naked thespian Jean-Claude Van Damme. Killing some version of Hitler himself shows up in video games and comic books. And somehow the trope even has to be addressed in a time travel rom-com by the guy who made Love Actually.
I can't kill Hitler or shag Helen of Troy, unfortunately.
Okay, stop.
With all that, the most interesting thing about Killing Hitler might be how the story manages to stay alive. That story by Ralph Milne Farley. You can probably guess that Killing Hitler didn't work. The narrator killed Hitler, but then he became a Hitler-like figure himself. Even former future President Jeb Bush realized
it could have a dangerous effect on everything else.
The moral of the stories that I find somehow most believable is that when you change history, you don't get the result you're looking for. Every day, everything we do is at a turning point in history, whether it's obvious to us or not. And of course, some of these points really matter tremendously and others don't. But the difference is not announced to us. Nobody rings a bell and says that what you do in the next 5 minutes may change the course of history. We are contemplating momentous decisions that we really both have to feel the weight of and at the same time have to feel the futility of because of the many laws of unintended consequences. We just have to do the best we can. Now, I can't imagine a circumstance in which doing the best I can would involve killing a person, much less a child, even if I had what you would consider quite certain knowledge that that person was about to kill 6 million innocents. So, all right, I guess I wouldn't kill baby Hitler given the chance.
Thank you to James Glick for talking to me about time travel, and thanks to Roger Sherman Hoare for writing awesome time travel stories under a pen name and other books under his own name, like Constitutional Conventions, Their Nature, Powers, and Limitations. It's gonna be a Bruce Willis movie any day now.